Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another breakdown. I'm gonna be breaking down this full card that's coming up next week. UFC 317 in the main one. We got Topuria moving up to 155, taking on the former champion Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. Should be an absolute barn burner in the main one. We also got in the co-main Alessandro Pantoja. Probably one of the best. I'm gonna say the best to ever do it at this point. I mean, I don't know who else we can put in front of Pantoja. I mean, Dimitri Johnson is retired. And I feel like at this point, Pantoja is probably even better than DJ. He's climbing his way up there for sure. I'm gonna have to put him up there at this point, man. Pantoja's running laps around these guys at 125. He's taking on Kai France, who's on a 1-5 win streak. He's coming off that absolute destruction over Steve Ursay in the first round where he knocked him out brutally. So we'll see how this one goes for Kaikar France. So they did fight back in like 2017, 2018, back in the Ultimate Fighter, I think it was. So we'll see how this fight goes for Pantoja and Kaikar France. We also got Benio Dariush taking on Renato Moicano. These guys were actually supposed to fight like a couple months back on that Makhachev and Sarukian card, and Sarukian ended up pulling out from that main event, so they needed someone to replace Sarukian, and Moicano was the only one willing to do it on that short notice. So he fought Islam Makhachev for the belt. Now he's coming back. They're running this matchup back now on the UFC 317 pay-per-view card, which should be it should be a good matchup here. And let's talk about the other fights on this card. We also got Brendan Royval, who was actually scheduled to take on Manel Cap on this card. Manel Cap, like usual, he ended up pulling out from the matchup, which happens a lot with Manel Cap. He's going to be taking on Joshua Van. We can all thank Joshua Van for jumping in and taking this fight on short notice. This is going to be Joshua Van's 6th fight in the last year in the UFC, which is just unfreaking believable. The activity that we were seeing from Joshua Van at only 23 years old, unbelievable activity from Joshua Van. We can all thank Joshua Van for getting this fight on this card, and we're gonna get to see these guys go at each other. We also got one of my favorite prospects at 135 pounds, Felipe Lima. He's jumping down to 135 again for the second time in a row. He actually took that. He came in on short notice at 145 at featherweight, took on Mohamed Naimov, and he was able to go out there, find that submission in the third round, which is highly impressive because Naimov hasn't looked bad in the UFC at all. And Payton Talbott, he's going to be taking on Payton Talbott, who's coming off that fraud check, getting fraud checked by Barcelos as like a massive favorite. So we'll see if he can bounce back against Felipe Lima. The UFC is not doing him any favors at this point. They're going to see who's really the legit prospect and who's going to move up the rankings from this matchup. In the prelims, as a headliner, we have Jack Hermansson taking on Gregory Rodrigues, who's also coming off a loss to the ranked Jared Cannonier. I believe Jared Cannonier was ranked number 8 at middleweight. So RoboCop had a main win with Jared Cannonier. He wasn't able to get the job done. He did have early success in that fight, but he fell short in the later rounds, and he got knocked out by Jared Cannonier, which is absolute no shame getting knocked out by Jared Cannonier. But now he's jumping down. He's taking on Jack Hermansson, the Joker, who's coming off that upset win over Joe Pyfer in the main event, where he was able to take the fight over in the later rounds. And we also got Amil taking on Jose Delgado. An absolute banger, man. This is one of my favorite fights in the card, and I cannot wait for this fight on the prelims. These prelims are really good, man. They have some really good matchmaking for the prelims. We also got Tracy Cortez. I know a lot of you sickos are going to be going into Tracy Cortez, and hopefully we get some wrestling in this fight. We can all go into Tracy Cortez. He's taking on Viviane Araujo, who's coming off that upset win over Creamy Silva on that pay-per-view card. And she looked pretty good in that fight against Creamy Silva. She's fought both of the Silva. She fought Natalie Silva. She wasn't able to get the job done against Natalie Silva, but she was able to get the job done against Creamy Silva, which is still really impressive because she's almost like 4 years old at this point, but still getting it done. Tracy Cortez is coming off that main win, lost to Rose Namajunas. I think she took that fight on short notice also. which no shame losing to Namajunas, even at this point. We got Terrence McKinney taking on Vyacheslav Borshchev, absolute barn burner. McKinney has never gone a distance in his whole career, which is crazy. I mean, this guy's never seen the scorecards in 23 fights, I believe. Unbelievable, right? Absolutely unbelievable from McKinney. He's all action. So we'll see how that one goes for McKinney. He's definitely the more well-rounded fighter in this matchup against Borshchev, but Borshchev is not an easy fight for anyone. Unless you're Chase Hooper. Unless you're Chase Hooper, then you're probably gonna have an easy time with Borshchev. Or we also got Rodrigues Dumas taking on Jackson McVey, who's coming over from LFA, making his UFC debut on this pay-per-view card. We also got another guy making his UFC debut on short notice. Hines coming over from LFA. So we got some LFA guys on this card. He's taking on Diniz, who's actually supposed to take on Justin Tafa on the main card. I was actually shocked they're putting Tafa on the main card on this pay-per-view, which is just unbelievable. I'm glad Tafa ended up pulling out. Now we're gonna get to see Hines step up on short notice. We'll see if he can what he can do with this opportunity on short notice, making his UFC debut. And we also got Jacoby Smith. Obviously, Jacoby Smith will be taking on Nico Price. Jacoby Smith is, I mean, this is just probably not a fair matchmaking by the UFC, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. So before we get into the breakdowns for every fight on this card, guys, make sure you guys do me a favor, like the video and also subscribe. I do a lot of tape study for these cards, and I also post my best for free every week. There's no premium or anything like that, so if it goes a long way if you guys all hit the like button on this video and subscribe. And also join the Discord. We have a really good Discord community, and there should be a link down below in the description if you guys want to see my official bets on this card. I do have a couple of bets on this card. There is a spot that I feel really good about on this card. We'll see how it goes. So let's talk about this first fight, guys. We got Jacoby Smith taking on Nico Price. So this should be an absolute banger. Like I was saying earlier, it's probably not a fair matchup for Nico Price. Smith is an all-American wrestler. He's a very good athlete, and his striking has been improving rapidly. He possesses knockout power, which is going to be a problem for a lot of fighters that he's going to be facing at this weight class at 170 pounds. He has nasty ground and pound when he does choose to wrestle. Now in this matchup, he faces Nico Price, who's been in the UFC for over almost 10 years at this point. And in his prime, Nico Price was a dangerous striker with knockout power. He has knocked out some people before, like Randy Brown, some other guys in the past, like Alex Morono. And but we haven't seen him finish anyone since like 2019. The last guy that he finished was I believe it was that guy, James Wake. I think it was James Wake back in 2019 when he finished James Wake. Now, Smith should be able to dictate where this fight takes place. If he wants to take him down, he can take him down. We see Nico Price's, when Nico Price's last fight, that he can be taken on every round by, he was getting taken on by Demba Grimbo. Every round, he just got absolutely smashed. I mean, he didn't take a lot of damage in that fight, but like, he couldn't really keep it on the feet against Grimbo. So if you can't keep it on the feet against Grimbo, you're gonna have a really tough time with Jacoby Smith. I don't even see Jacoby Smith trying to wrestle here. I just think he's gonna knock him out on the feet. So I'm gonna go with Jacoby Smith by first round KO. Really easy fight for Jacoby Smith. He's coming in at minus 2,000. I mean, I can't even disagree with that line. I'm not putting any money on Nico Price even at minus 1,000. Under 1.5 rounds, minus 165. I believe it goes under 1.5 rounds. Obviously, money coming in on the over 1.5 rounds. Nico Price is pretty tough, but I don't see him taking damage early. I don't think he's gonna survive the beating from Jacoby Smith. Jacoby Smith hits way too hard. He's got too much knockout power, and that's going to be a problem for Nico Price. I don't think he can take the damage early enough to survive the over 1.5 rounds. I think the under is really solid. So I'm going to go with Jacoby Smith with a knockout in the first 2 rounds. All right, let's move on, guys. Next fight on the card is going to be Diniz taking on Hines. Now this matchup, obviously, like I said earlier, Diniz was supposed to take on Justin Tafa on the main card on this pay-per-view. I'm happy they're not on the main card anymore. It was probably gonna end up in a KO, that Tafa and Diniz fight, which is probably why the UFC was putting it on the main card. Now he's taking on Elwin Hines. Hines is making his UFC debut, like I mentioned earlier. He's coming in a short notice. Diniz was scheduled to take on Justin Tafa, obviously. And this is probably going to be, I don't know, it's a similar matchup, but I feel like it's going to be a tougher matchup than Justin Tafa. Because Tafa is not really going to go out and wrestle, right? Tafa is a one-trick pony. He's only a power puncher, like a brawler. I don't think his technique is all that great. And I'm actually happy that Hines is getting this opportunity. He's been putting in work in LFA. He's got a couple of highlights in LFA. He can wrestle. He can grapple really well. Hines can strike, but his wrestling is probably better than his striking, in my opinion. His striking is really not clean. It's really sloppy. And he is very tough, though. He can take damage on the feet. He's been dropped before. I've seen him drop before, and he can rally back and win those fights, but where he's dropped early in. He throws pretty good ground and pound if he is able to take you down and get on top of you, and he has the ability to find the submissions on the ground. So I think it would favor Hines a lot to take this fight to the mat, because on the feet I do believe Diniz is going to be the better kickboxer, and if Hines doesn't take him to the mat, I think he's gonna have a tough time in this fight. And Diniz is going to be the far better kickboxer. I used to compete in Glory Kickboxing. Obviously, didn't have a lot of success in kickboxing, which is why he transitioned to MMA. And he got his way. He made his way to the UFC, competing on Dana White Contender Series, where he was able to find a KO. And I do like his striking a lot, so I'm gonna go with Diniz here probably by KO TKO. But Hines is really tough though, and he can definitely make this fight. He can win this fight if you can take him down and beat him up on the ground. My pick is going to be Diniz by TKO. Next fight on the card is going to be Rodrigues Dumas taking on Jackson McVey. Jackson McVey actually competed in LFA. I think I was live during that card. We seen him compete in LFA like a week ago, or like maybe 2 weeks back. And now, like I mentioned something about Dumas in my other breakdown when he took on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. So I mentioned that Dumas can't seem to stay out of trouble, it seems, and he has been, obviously he's been arrested multiple times, right? He's been out there gangbanging, and someone commented on my video on that breakdown that I was actually racially profiling Dumas. I hope he's watching this video. You're a complete idiot. Maybe do some research if you're watching this right now. I hope you're watching this right now. But anyways, guys, so Dumas, obviously, he hasn't shown to be too dangerous in the UFC. He's barely winning these fights. I mean, he's taking these guys down. The most impressive win that he has in the UFC is on Contender Series, where he was able to lock in that guillotine choke over Peñas, who's actually a really good fighter. We're probably going to see him back in the UFC or Contender Series again. He's doing really well over there in Octagon. And I think that's his best win. He's also got wins over Brundes, wins over which he was able to, like, I think Brundes completely threw that fight, if I'm being honest with you guys. So if you go back and run the tape on that fight, Brundes was actually out there like shooting guillotines over and over, which is like, I mean, how dumb you have to be to like shoot guillotines over and over when you really don't even have a locked in all the way. And I think he pulled guillotine like 5 times in that fight, and Dumas was able to like control him and win round after round, which is impressive. I mean, he's shown the ability that he can wrestle for 15 minutes. He's got good cardio. He's not really gonna go out there and like knock you out early, because we haven't seen it yet in the UFC. All these fights are going the distance in the UFC that he's winning in, and when he is losing, he's getting finished in all those fights. And I do like McVey here. My only issue with Jackson McVey is if this does go over 1.5 rounds, or like into the second round, the later rounds. Like, how is he going to look? How is McVey gonna look in the later rounds? Because he's 6-0. He's got all 6 finishes in the first round, 3 KOs. I believe that he used submissions. So there are a lot of questions on McVey's side here, but I do like the athleticism from McVey. He's got really good nasty clinch work. He can throw some nice knees in the clinch, break you down, knock you out. I do have some worries, obviously, which is why I haven't bet him yet. If you got plus money on McVey, I think that's the side. Now he's about even money. And I think McVey, I'm going to go McVey by first round summation. I think Dumas is going to shoot takedowns on McVey because he's not going to be too comfortable on the feet in the striking exchanges. And I do see McVey finding locking in those maybe an anaconda choke or like maybe like a Bravo choke. He's got really long arms. Obviously 6'4". Give her back. I'm gonna have to edit this out soon. Yeah, my pick is gonna be McVey by first round submission. I hope this fight doesn't leave into the later rounds. That's gonna be my pick. I apologize for that camera freezing up for some reason. I'm not sure why that happens on my PC. All right, let's talk about the next fight, guys. Next fight on the let's talk about the betting lines. Obviously, we got to go with the betting lines. McVey minus 110. You open up at plus 130. Action coming in. He's actually minus 125 now. I still think he's probably not a bad bet at minus 110. I'm not sure if I'll take him, but maybe I'll sprinkle the first, second unfinished or McVey ITD. I think if he wins, it's going to be by finish early. Next fight on the card. Let's move on to the prelims now. We're done with the early prelims, breaking on the early prelims. Next fight on the card is going to be Terrence McKinney taking on Vyacheslav Borshchev. A really good matchup here, man. I'm really excited for this matchup. This is going to end inside the distance either way, no matter who wins. Now, this is going to be a really good matchup. I mean, McKinney has never seen the scorecards like I was mentioning earlier. In 23 pro fights, he's only ever gone to the third round once, and then that was back in 2018. So the guy's an absolute marauder when he's on the winning side, which isn't often. Like he wins sometimes, he loses sometimes, but every fight is exciting, right? And he has to be one of the most exciting lightweights out there outside the top 15. And it's all these fights end up in highlights, whether it's him getting the highlight or ending up as one. So this fight does favor McKinney, in my opinion. He's the far better wrestler, and I think early he can dictate where this fight takes place. And I think it would favor him a lot to take this fight to the mat because Borshchev, he has been training over there, team up Amil, but he still does struggle with his takedown defense. We just seen Tom Nolan, who's a striker, take him down over and over. And I think McKinney has much better wrestling, much better grappling than Tom Nolan. But my issue with McKinney betting him at minus 125, 185 over someone like Borshchev, who's really tough, never been KO'd. We have seen him drop before. My issue with that is that if McKinney doesn't finish him in the first round, we've seen this guy quit. We know he looks for the door. He can fold his 10 and go home if things don't seem to be going his way, and the fight starts to drag on a little bit longer. That's my only issue with McKinney, but him having the wrestling edge in this fight, and I believe he's gonna get that takedown in the first round. I'm gonna have to go with McKinney by submission. Grounded pound's gonna be tough to finish Borshchev by grounded pound. We've seen him take an absolute beating by Chase Hooper, and he just wasn't trying to quit in that fight at all. And he was taking so much grounded pound against Chase Hooper, and Chase Hooper has to lock in that submission to finish him off completely. So I'm gonna go with McKinney by submission. But I would be kind of worried betting on McKinney even at minus 185 or whatever the line is right now. Now, Borshchev is going to be the much better kickboxer in this fight. So if he can keep the standing longer than a run, his chances of winning go up a lot. And he's going to have the better cardio, probably the better chin. We've seen McKinney knocked out multiple times. That's why I call him McChinny sometimes. But I'm going to go with McKinney, and I can't pick someone that has 40% takedown defense. And McKinney has taken on Nazim Sadikov, who I rate really highly when it comes to grappling and his takedown defense. He's taken on Fergium, and he got him in the submission. So I do like McKinney's grappling here a lot. I think the submission prop is going to be really good in this fight. Hopefully it's plus 150, plus 160 when they drop the props on this fight. Let's check the odds, obviously. So McKinney's the favorite. He's coming in at minus 172. The odds are dropping right now. He opened up at minus 200. I think the odds should be minus 150 for McKinney, like minus 160-ish, like around there. because if he does have the first round finishing upside, and he's gotten a lot of knockout power, so he can maybe hurt Borshchev and club and sub him. But I do like the under 1.5 rounds, man. I could see Borshchev putting him out early too, because Borshchev has nasty striking. So I'm gonna go with the under 1.5 rounds. Minus 185. I think that's pretty solid. But my pick's gonna be McKinney by first round submission. Let's move on. Next fight on the card is going to be Viviane Araujo taking on Tracy Cortez. Solid matchup here between these two girls. Let's talk about this matchup now, man. So Araujo is a veteran at this point. She's ranked number 8, and she's able to pull out these upset wins if you have any holes in your game. If you struggle with your cardio, you don't pace yourself properly like the Queen Silva did. So he had Queen Silva pulling guard in that third round because Queen Silva was trying to like get her out of there early, and she completely gassed herself out, and she was pulling guard. And I think she lost that fight based on optics because that fight was really close. I think Queenie could have won that fight if it wasn't for the optics in the third round. And this fight's really good. I think it's a good fight for Tracy Cortez. Not that Viviane can't win. She's a tough girl. She's got good, I wouldn't say she's got good striking. I do think Tracy's got better hands, better boxing. Now Tracy's coming up to her first loss in the UFC, and it was against Rose Namajunas, which she took on short notice. She was having a really hard time dealing with Rose's footwork, which is obviously a problem for a lot of girls when they face Rose, because she's not easy to find out there. And Tracy was having a hard time landing her boxing combinations on Rose Namajunas. Now I don't think Viviane is gonna make this fight look easy for Cortez. While I do believe with Tracy's better boxing, she's not going to have too much of a hard time finding Viviane Araujo because Viviane just goes out there, pressures you. She's going forward, and I can see Tracy finding that chin. And she's not going to have a hard time finding Viviane Araujo, landing on Viviane Araujo. But even though Viviane is like 30 years old, she still looks in incredible shape. So I don't know if this is going to be like one of those 30-27 fights for Tracy Cortez because I don't see her finishing Viviane Araujo. I think this fight is going to be really close, maybe even a split or 29-28 Tracy Cortez. And I don't think Tracy has a lot of power, right? So I don't think Viviane's not going to be scared to like go forward, pressure Tracy. And I can also see Tracy mixing in takedowns, which I'm not sure if she wants to because Viviane has really good jiu-jitsu. She will go for armbar. She had Queen Silva almost locked up in armbar in the second round. Now, obviously, Queen Silva's not easy to submit on the ground. She's really high level black belt when it comes to jiu-jitsu. My pick's gonna be Tracy Cortez by decision. I think the judges they might just give her the win because she looks kind of cute, but and I'm sure the UFC wants her to win. She's more marketable for the UFC, and yeah, I'm gonna go Tracy Cortez, but I wouldn't mind playing the plus 2.5 and Viviane Araujo because I think she's gonna win one round out there at least. If not, even if she loses this fight, there's no way she's getting 30-27 by Tracy Cortez. Because Tracy Cortez fights really close with their opponents. So I think the over 2.5 rounds is like minus 600, which is kind of crazy, but I don't see this fight finishing ITD. I don't know if I'll play the over at minus 600. That is a bit kind of expensive for me. Minus 600 for the over 2.5 rounds. Yeah, that is a bit expensive. Even though I don't see anyone finishing this fight, the over 2.5 is really expensive. I do see it hitting though. I do see the over 2.5 hitting in this fight. Fight goes the distance at a high probability, probably like 80-90%. This fight hits the scorecards. My pick's gonna be Cortez, but this is minus 660. That line is way too wide for me to play because this fight's gonna go the distance, and Tracy doesn't have a lot of finishing upside, so she's gonna have to win every round or like make sure she banks at least 2 rounds out of 3, and I think she will. Next fight on the card, we got Amil taking on Jose Delgado. Absolute banger here, guys. An absolute banger, man. Amil still undefeated, and Delgado coming into his second UFC fight. He's a prospect out of MMA Lab. Probably one of the better prospects we're seeing. We've seen get signed last year on Dana White Contender Series. He has been getting work in with Mario Batista, who looked incredible over Apache Mix a couple of weeks back on that pay-per-view card. I think that was the last pay-per-view UFC 316 card, yeah. So Batista looked incredible, and he's been training with Batista, so I rate that really highly. Now Delgado has very sharp striking. He's very technical, really good footwork, along with good takedown defense. And he can also wrestle offensively, which I do like to see. And he does shoot takedowns in fights, very striking, and he likes to mix up everything really well. And he keeps a really high pace in his fights. And I'm kind of worried because we haven't seen him go longer recently. So I don't know if he can keep the pace for 15 minutes. But he doesn't seem to slow down all that much. Now, Amil's not going to make this fight easy for Delgado. While I do think Delgado is going to win, even though Amil is not that technical, he's not really like crazy, like good in any part of the game. He's really durable, man. He has a chin on him, and he's got really solid cardio. He pushes forward. He will pressure you. He's going to try and break Delgado, and it could probably be a tough fight for Delgado if he goes all 15 minutes. But I am going to go with Delgado. I think Delgado is going to win this fight with Amil being the one pressuring Delgado. I don't think Delgado is going to have a hard time finding his chin and landing strikes on him. He throws really good body kicks. He switches stances really well. And I do like to see that footwork from Delgado. And he's really technical, and I do like to see that. He's got a lot of knockout power. I'm going to go with Delgado to win by KO TKO. I think he knocks him out. Delgado right now minus 170. He opened up at plus 111 on Bet Online. Cloud Bet, they opened him up at minus 135 on Cloud Bet. So I'm gonna go with Delgado. You can still get him minus 160 on Cloud Bet. I'm gonna go with Delgado by KO TKO. And I honestly do like that. I do like that under 2.5 rounds minus. I took that at minus 102, but I do like that you can still get that at minus 109 on Cloud Bet. So take the under 2.5 rounds. I think Delgado finds the finish. Even if he doesn't, I could see Hyder Mill breaking him down the stretch if he is able to get him tired and Delgado can't deal with that pressure for 15 minutes, which I think you will be able to do with that pressure, but you never really know. So I took the under 2.5 rounds in that fight. Let's move on. Next fight on the card, we got Jack Hermansson taking on Gregory Robocop Rodrigues. Really good matchup here, man. This is kind of a tough one for me because I do think Hermansson has the style to deal with a guy like Robocop. I would probably be more confident in Hermansson if this is 5 rounds. But this is only going to be 3-round fight, and it's gonna be headlining the prelims on this pay-per-view UFC 317 card. So let's talk about Rodrigues. Rodrigues is a BJJ world champion who's fallen in love with the striking. And the past few fights, he doesn't even wrestle anymore. He throws everything with the intention to knock you out. I mean, he's throwing everything with a lot of power, which takes a lot of energy, and he's very dangerous in the first, round and a half. Hermansson is the better kickboxer, in my opinion. Probably more technical. And he doesn't throw with a lot of power. He's kind of just trying to outpoint you. And he's got pretty good fight IQ. And he has really good cardio, and he also has really good grappling too. I've seen him take down people like Joe Pyfer and other guys before, and he's pretty dangerous on the ground. He also was taking on Delitze, mixing a takedown, which kind of cost him the fight there because Delitze caught him in a weird position, and he was able to land that grounded pound over Hermansson and completely finish him out with that grounded pound. Now I'm gonna have to this one's a tough one, man, because I can see Hermansson taking over later in the second, third round. But I can also see Robocop going out there and landing the better shots early and landing with a lot of power, which the judges will probably score better the round towards Robocop. I would be more confident in Hermansson if this was a 5-round main win, because I can see him winning the third round, fourth round, fifth round, like he did over Joe Pyfer. And I think Pyfer and Rodrigues are really similar, but Rodrigues probably has the worst chin out of Joe Pyfer, because we have seen Rodrigues knocked out multiple times in the past, even with guys that don't have a lot of power. And Robocop probably has the worst chin than Hermansson at this point, in my opinion. I can see. I'm gonna go with their Hermansson. I think he can take over later, but I would not be shocked if RoboCop is able to go out there and knock him out early because he does. He's really dangerous early. But I'm gonna go with the Hermansson as an underdog. Hermansson plus 160. I'm gonna go with the Hermansson. Why? Maybe like a third round stoppers or just by decision. I'm gonna go by decision for Hermansson. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 145. I feel like it goes over minus 147 or cloud bed. I feel like it goes over. If the over is like minus 145, I favor Hermansson winning maybe the second, third round. And he's not going to be easy for RoboCop to find. And they're also fighting in the bigger octagon, which kind of does favor Hermansson. And I think RoboCop is going to have to track him down for 3 rounds. Let's move on. Next fight on the card, guys. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe if you guys haven't hit the subscribe button yet. And I will be live for this card on Saturday. And I'm also going to be covering PFL this week. So I cover PFL, UFC on the channel every week. And we have been making money on PFL and UFC. My bets are all posted in the link down below. You guys can check it out. It's all free. Let's talk about this fight, man. I'm really high on this fight, on Felipe Lima. So you guys might get a bit of a bias breakdown for me because I do have action in this fight. Let me pull up my notes on this one. Give me a second, guys. So yeah, let's talk about Lima, man. Lima has he came in, like I was mentioning earlier in my intro on this video, that he came in on short notice from Octagon, and he took on Mohammed Naimov in Saudi Arabia, I believe, or maybe it was Abu Dhabi, on the Abu Dhabi card. I think the Saudi Arabian card. And he looked really good, man. He looked really good out there. He was able to kind of piece up Naimov at range. And he was getting taken on early in that fight, but he was able to scramble back up, get back up to his feet, and then he was able to take Naimav's back in that third round, find that submission, and forced Naimav to tap out to that rear naked choke. Now, Lima has really good fight IQ, stays at range really well, lands jabs, low kicks, spinning attacks, and he lands that body kick. He's training at All Stars MMA with guys like Chimaev and that team over there. He manages distance really well, and he takes his time, doesn't really close distance recklessly, and he does move his head really well, and doesn't take shots clean to the chin. And when he does take shots to the chin, he's shown pretty good chin so far in his career. And he's fought 5 rounds in the past in Octagon, so we know this guy can go 5 rounds without a problem, and he doesn't slow down later. He's also got really good timing on those takedowns, and he's gonna have a wrestling edge in this fight and the grappling edge over Peyton Talbott. And Peyton Talbott, obviously, he's coming off that loss to his first career loss to Barcelos, where he gave up 8 takedowns to Barcelos, which is obviously not good, right? Like, you're getting absolutely dominated in the grappling. You can't finish a takedown to Barcelos. Barcelos is a pretty good grappler, obviously a world champion in wrestling, I believe, or BJJ. He's really good. He can wrestle. He's able to. He's still out there. He just went out there and beat the former champion, Cody No Love. Yeah, Cody Garbrandt. He just went out there and beat Cody Garbrandt by just pressuring forward and making the fight tough for Cody No Love Garbrandt. I don't know what's next for Cody No Love Garbrandt at this point. They might just feed him to the wolves after every fight. Now, Peyton Talbott is going to be the more dangerous striker in this fight. He's a slick striker with good countering ability if you do close the distance on him recklessly. But I think Lima's going to be he's going to be able to deal with Peyton's pressure, and also him being able to mix in takedowns is going to stop Peyton Talbott from completely opening up. And Peyton's going to be longer. He's going to be taller, rangier in this fight. He does have the reach advantage, and also he has the height advantage. He's going to be about 4 inches taller than Felipe Lima. But we have seen Felipe Lima compete at 145 against Naima when he can deal with these guys really well. I'm gonna go Lima. I do have a bet on him at minus 155. I do like him a lot here. Felipe Lima coming in at minus 207 now, minus 200. We took him at minus 155. I'm really high on this guy, man. I don't think he's losing to Peyton Talbott. If he goes out there, mixes in takedowns, and he fights smart, he should definitely be able to beat a guy like Peyton Talbott. And I don't think Peyton Talbott is going to be able to fix the grappling and take down defense this early. And he just after losing to Barcelos, and he was also getting taken on by Nick Aguirre in his UFC debut early. He was getting controlled in the first round by Nick Aguirre. Nick Aguirre just didn't have the cardio to keep that pace going. I think Lima has the cardio to keep that pace going, and the mix in wrestling, and that will change. And his striking isn't bad either. Hasn't shown to be super dangerous in the striking, but he's a really good. He has really good striking and really good technical striking, and he mixes up everything really well to all targets. Let's move on. I'm going to go Lima by third round submission. Let's move on, guys. Next fight on the card is going to be Brandon Royval taking on Joshua Wan. Man, another banger on this card, man. We got so many banger after banger on this card. I cannot wait for this card. And we're only like 5 days away now from this fight preview, UFC 317. Let's talk about this fight now. No, we got Dariush. Isn't that fight on this? Dariush, oh, there it is. Okay, they have the bot or different than Tapology, because when I do my research, I look at Tapology, then I do my tape study, then I take my notes. So let's talk about this fight. Okay, let me see if I can pull up my notes for Royval fight. We'll break down this other fight after. So let's talk about this fight, man. This is going like I said earlier in my intro in this video that this is going to be Joshua Van's 6th fight in the last year or so. Absolutely incredible activity from Joshua Van at only 23 years old. He's also taken this fight on short notice, right? We've seen him go out there and absolutely butcher Bruno Silva, who was obviously an easier fight than Royval by a lot. And he's just been out there and absolutely butchered him for 3 rounds before finishing him completely. And he should have finished him in the second round, let's be honest. I was happy that they didn't stop the fight in the second round because I had the third round or decision prop on Joshua Van. We did cash on that minus 150. So I was really happy that referee let that fight go on longer. Probably not good for Bruno Silva's well-being. But let's talk about this fight then. And now that Royval is taking this fight on short notice, but he's been training. Someone that has competed 6 times in the last year. You know, this guy's in incredible shape. He's always training every day, all day long. And at some point, I feel like in the near future, he's gonna be the flyweight champion, man. He's only at 22 years old. He's only gonna get better and better after fight after fight. Now, Van has really good boxing, landing so much volume every round. And I think he has the stats for landing the most volume at 125 pounds. He lands about 7 strikes per minute, which is just incredible. And he has shown really good takedown defense so far. Obviously, he hasn't been fighting the top 5 guys like Royval's been fighting, like Pantoja, like Moreno, and all these Kai France, all these other guys in top 5 that have been up there for a long time. Now, Van's like every fight almost, he's undersized. He wasn't undersized against Bruno Silva and Cody Durden, I believe, or I think against Cody Durden, he was undersized, but he really didn't have a problem dealing with Cody Durden's reach advantage or height. Now in this fight, man, Royval's gonna be a lot longer. He's gonna be like 5. I believe he's at a 68-inch reach, and he's also 5'9". He's really long and rangy, and obviously he's got so much more experience than Joshua Van. He's been in the UFC for a lot longer. He's fought everyone at 125 pounds, all the guys in top 5, and more than one time against the current champion Pantoja, and those are 2 of his losses. Man, this is gonna be a tough one to pick for me, man, because I keep going back and forth in this one. It's just stylistically, I really like Joshua Van's game. I'm a big fan of Joshua Van, but I can also see Royval winning this one. But I'm gonna go with Joshua Van. I feel like I'm not sure if I'll bet on him though, because this fight's like I respect Royval's game too much now, because when he went out there, pulled it off against Tatsuro Taira in the 5-round main event. He went out there, pulled it off against Brandon Moreno as an underdog. So he's been looking incredible. At 30, I believe he's 31 years old now. He's been looking really good right now, man. He's been beating like top guys, Tatsuro Taira, Brandon Moreno, and he lost to Pantoja twice, obviously. And he lost to Moreno, which in that fight he got injured. So who knows how that fight would have gone if he didn't get injured in that fight. He's never officially been knocked out. I mean, he was injured. The only time his fight was stopped by TKO, he popped his shoulder in that fight. So he's really tough, really durable. He's only been subbed by Pantoja, I believe. And this is going to be a tough fight for Joshua, but I believe in Joshua. I think he can get it done. I really do. I really do think he has a style to get it done. He's got sharper boxing than Royval. My only worry is that Joshua has been finished in 2 of his losses. He's got 2 losses. He was subbed back like a few years back. I believe it's 2021 in Fury FC. He was also knocked out by Charles Johnson, and that fight was really close up until that 3rd round when Charles Johnson found that home for that crazy uppercut, and he knocked him out. But I'm gonna go with Joshua Van by decision. I think it's gonna be really close, but I'm gonna lean towards Van landing more volume, being the more effective boxer, striker. But man, Royval ain't gonna make it easy on Joshua Van. And Royval's always dangerous. Like he's always live for a submission or KO, TKO. So if you're betting on Royval, maybe you can sprinkle the KO or submission prop for Royval. But I'm gonna go with my boy Joshua Van. I think he's gonna be able to get this one done. Next fight on the card, guys, we got Dariush taking on Moicano. And I was mentioning earlier that Moicano, he's coming out that lost to the former champion, the former lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. And now he's going to be taking on Dariush because these guys were supposed to fight on that Sarukin and Islam card. And Sarukin ended up pulling out right during fight day, I believe. I think it was like a few hours before the fight. And which is why Dina White didn't give Sarukin that opportunity against Topuria. Now they're running this fight back with Dariush. And let's talk about this fight. So Dariush, obviously, he's on a 2-fight losing streak now, but it's only to the elites of this weight class. Arman Sarukian, who obviously knocked him out. We did bet on Arman Sarukian there. We cashed on him easily. 1st round KO. He lost to Oliveira. I did pick Oliveira. I did pick Dariush there. I thought he was gonna be able to like negate the grappling, but he couldn't take the grounded pound from Oliveira, and that was too much for him. Losing to Oliveira and Sarukian, absolutely no shame in those fights, those losses at all. He does have a win over Gamrot. He was able to defend all takedowns against Gamrot, or majority of the takedowns, and he was able to drop Gamrot and win the striking exchanges against Gamrot, which is really impressive. I feel like this is a similar matchup to Gamrot fight. Like I do think that the Moicano probably has like better striking than Gamrot. Like don't call me on this, but I feel like Moicano has better striking than Gamrot though. Like at this point, his striking is getting better, training over their American top team, whereas Dariush is training out of Kings MMA. I just feel like Dariush has a style to beat Moicano. Like obviously Dariush has been knocked out like 5 times now, so that's always a concern when you're putting money on this guy, Dariush. But I really do think that Dariush can defend takedowns. He's a no-gi world champion, and it's not often that he gets taken on and out-grappled by anyone in the UFC. And I don't know if I see Moicano knocking him out on the feet. He's gonna have to get those takedowns and land ground and pound and finish him like that. If he does manage to finish Dariush, I would be really shocked if he managed to finish Dariush on the feet in the striking alone. So I'm gonna go with the Dariush. I think he can win this one. I do like his takedown defense. 80% takedown defense is honestly good enough to defend takedowns against Renato Moicano. Give me Dariush by decision. That's gonna be my pick on this fight. Dariush plus 125. Plus 117 on other books out there. You can even find plus 130 out there. I like Dariush by decision, man. I really do. Or you can take the over 2.5 rounds at plus 115. I think that's pretty solid. Also, I can see this one going longer if Dariush wins because Moicano has shown to be really tough and durable. Can Dariush knock him out? Obviously he can, but I think Moicano at this point is pretty tough and he's in incredible shape. So I don't see him just quitting out there against Dariush if things don't go his way. All right, guys, let's talk about the co-main now, man. Alexandre Pantoja taking on Kai France. Absolute banger, man. Absolute banger. I love this fight at flyweight. Obviously, there's really no one else that Pantoja could be fighting at this point to defend that belt at 125 pounds. He's already beat Moreno. He already beat I believe he already beat Moreno twice or 3 times. I think he also beat him on The Ultimate Fighter, if I'm not mistaken. He also beat Royval twice. And he beat Ursay. Obviously, that fight was really close, but he did beat Ursay. Then he obviously beat Asakura, who the UFC gave their title shot on short notice. Or I think I don't know if that was short notice for Asakura, but they did give him that title shot because he's a rising champion. And obviously, we knew Pantoja was gonna run through Asakura. That fight was not gonna be close. I believe Pantoja's striking is getting better, man. At this point, his grappling's already very elite. And Karakar France is probably the hardest hitter at 125. I'm not probably. I think he is like the Mike Tyson of one flyweight right now. Because this guy hits you, man. Sometimes, like if you don't have the durability like Pantoja, it could be a good night for you. I mean, you could be going to sleep. If Karakar France hits you, you're probably not going to be able to recover from that. But I believe Pantoja has a durability. He has a grappling. It's not like Karakar France go out there and just land those powerful shots on Pantoja round after round. And I don't think Kaikara's grappling takedown defense is good enough even at this point. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, oh my god, someone's calling it. It's like 12. It's almost like 1 a.m. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, Pantoja should be able to win this one. I think the line on him isn't bad at all. I think that's really parlayable. Even at these odds, his grappling is elite. We know this guy is gonna fight hard for your money. He's got really good cardio. He's not gonna stop fighting, even when he's in trouble. He keeps going, man. He's gonna fight to the very end. And I think Pantoja is gonna finish him by submission in this fight. So I'm gonna go with Pantoja by submission. And I mean, Kaikar fans takedown defense is 88% though, but I think I do see Pantoja taking him down and beating him up on the ground, finding that submission eventually. Pantoja minus 250. I think that's really parlayable even now. Under 3.5 rounds plus 100. I think it does. I think it does end ITD minus 125 for fight to end ITD. Fight doesn't go the distance minus 125. I really do like that prop on this fight. Let's move on, guys. We got Ilia Topuria taking on Charles Oliveira, the former lightweight champion. Charles Oliveira taking on the former featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. I mean, this is the fight that I've been looking forward to for months since they announced this fight. Ilia Topuria, the first one to KO Max Holloway, and I don't know if he was the first one to knock out Volkanovski, but I think he might. No, obviously we've seen Islam Makhachev knock out Volkanovski at 155, but he was the first one to knock him out 145 pounds. I'm talking about Volkanovski, obviously, who's the champion now the champion again at 145 pounds. He was able to claim that belt over Lopez, which made me really sad because I was hoping Lopez was gonna be able to go out there, get it done over Volkanovski. My boy couldn't get it done. I think Lopez will be back though. Ilia Topuria, man, this guy was a grappler before he made it to UFC. Now he's knocking everyone out in the UFC. I believe he only had 1 KO before he got to the UFC. Now he's got 5 KOs in the UFC or something crazy like that. And his boxing is just on another level. And we have seen him in trouble at 155 when he took on Jai Herbert. He couldn't see that head kick coming, so I think it would probably be smart for Oliveira to keep that range, use his Muay Thai, land those knees up the middle, and throw those left high kick like Jai Herbert maybe. But I think Topuria he's gonna be pressuring Oliveira, and Oliveira's too hittable, man. I don't like that striking defense from Oliveira, and I don't think you want to get hit by Ilia Topuria. I really don't. The odds are crazy though. Ilia Topuria 16-0. I think he will be 17-0 soon. Oliveira, he's got wins over some of the best fighters at this weight class. Michael Chandler, I mean, we can't even say he's one of the best fighters at this weight class anymore. But he was at one point. He was kind of good when he beat Hooker, right? Yeah, he was kind of good when he was able to knock out Hooker. But we did see him in trouble against Chandler in that first round. He got dropped badly by Chandler in the first fight. Almost got finished by Chandler. Then he was able to recover, come back, and knock out Chandler. So Oliveira is also a dangerous striker, and he can grapple. One of the most potent finishers, and in the UFC we've seen, he's got over 20 finishes by submission, I believe, alone, which is just incredible. incredible. I mean, what am I saying? Incredible. Also made that Sorokin fight really tough. We did pick Sorokin by decision, I believe, in my breakdown, but he made that fight really close. He almost had Sorokin choked out in that first round when he went for that gilly. I don't think Topuria is going to be trying to wrestle with him in this fight. I don't think he's going to grapple with Oliveira. I think he's got too high a fight IQ to take this fight where Oliveira's good at, where he's a specialist at, which is the grappling. And Oliveira's going to have to capitalize, take Topuria's back, maybe look for that submission. But I don't really see that happening, man. I'm going to go with Ilya by KO. I think obviously most people that I've seen are picking Ilya by KO. And I do agree with that analysis that Ilya's got a good cardio, even though we haven't seen him go 5 rounds. We have seen him go 5 rounds against Josh Emmett, who hits really hard, but obviously Oliveira is more skilled than Josh Emmett. So, and he does also wrestle. He'll mix in takedowns later in fights after he lands damage early. Over 1.5 rounds, -145. I think he goes over 1.5. Maybe he could go over 1.5 rounds. Maybe, I'm not really too sure. I don't know if I'll like. I think it goes over 1.5 rounds, man. However, it's pretty tough though, so I don't know if he's gonna like finish him that early. He could very well finish him that early. KO, I believe KO is like -150, -120, -130 out there on most books. So I'm gonna go with the KO GKO for Ilya Topuria. But Oliveira, man, I'm plus 325. I know a lot of people are betting Oliveira at these odds. Probably not a lot of people, but I've seen people out there taking him at that price. You can probably sprinkle that if you really think he has a chance. Which, I mean, it's MMA, right? Anyone has a chance in this game in MMA. But I'm gonna go with the Topuria. I just think his style is too good, and I don't think he's struggle in the grappling against Oliveira. But this is by far the most dangerous grappler that he's facing in the UFC overall in his whole career. He's never fought anyone that can grapple like Oliveira. So we'll see how legit that grappling of Topuria really is. If he does make mistakes and he gives up his back at any point in this fight. But my pick is going to be Ilya Topuria by KO or TKO. So Ilya Topuria by KO or TKO is going to be my pick in the main win. And I can't wait for this main win. And obviously in the co-main, my pick is going to be Pantoja by submission, Dariush by decision, Joshua by decision, Lima by submission, Jack Hermansson by decision, Delgado by KO TKO. I'm picking Tracy by decision, McKinney by submission, McVey by submission. I'm picking a lot of submissions on this card. I just realized that now. Picking Diniz by KO TKO. Picking Smith by KO TKO. So there you guys go, man. That's my full card breakdown on this UFC 317 card. Let me know in the comments who you guys have in the main event, who you guys have in the co-main. I love seeing you guys' comments, and if you guys are on the opposite side, good luck. I wish you guys all the luck, man. Hopefully we all make money on this pay-per-view card. We have been making money on pay-per-view cards. We've made like 7 units on that UFC 315 card. We made about 2 units on that UFC 316 card. And we do really well on these pay-per-view cards. So I'm hoping we're going to do really well on this card. And I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Let me know if you guys agree, disagree with my predictions on this card. And I'm recording this at like 1 in the morning on Monday. So I gotta get up in the morning. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys.